Became more observant 25 years ago, the laws of Shabbat seemed very overwhelming for me. There were so many things that you couldn't do. And I recall vividly sitting in yeshiva with a study partner, learning from Shmirat Shabbat K'Hilchata that you cannot bite your nails on the Sabbath as well. And I recall feeling, this is so much, I can't do this. And I recall I was so anxious that I was biting my nails while I was learning those laws. Thankfully, it was just a weekday and I wasn't violating the Sabbath. But this idea that Shabbat is about ceasing from work and resting is talked about in the introduction to our Parsha, where it says Shabbat is a Shabbat Shabbaton. It's a day of full rest. However, many forget that the Parsha also talks about Uvayom HaShvi'i Yelachem Kodesh. Shabbat should be a day of holiness, a day which we make holy, not just in a descriptive way. The verse is prescribing that we should make it holy. I'd like to share with you another story from the same time period which talks about this. So at the time, my father would come and visit me when I was in yeshiva once a year, and we would spend our Shabbos in Vayakhel-Pekudei with our family, and we eat delicious meals, and afterwards we go for walks through the neighborhood, and the streets, many of the streets are shut down from traffic on Shabbat. It's really a beautiful experience. So one Friday evening, one Leil Shabbat, we were walking through the streets of Vayakhel-Pekudei. It was 11 o'clock at night. Not that many people were out. It was very peaceful. We were walking along our way. All of a sudden, we heard screaming. And we became alarmed. It sounded like two men were screaming at each other. So we kept walking, and it got louder and louder. So we decided to go see where the commotion was coming from. It was from a shul. So we walked to the shul, we opened the door. Many of the synagogues at the time did not have security, so you could just walk in. We walked in. We found two men screaming at each other with long beards, and it wasn't from a place of anger. It was from a place of enjoyment. Turns out they were learning Torah. And it was with great passion and screaming, and they were drinking their tea, and they were going back and forth. And I recall at the time looking at my father, and his face was simply amazed because he wasn't used to this from our hometown. He wasn't used to this great engagement in Torah in the wee hours of the night on Shabbat in the middle of an empty street. And he was amazed by the fact that these individuals, no one was forcing them to come there, but they were learning Torah with their hearts. And they were making Shabbat holy. And this is very impressionable upon me, seeing them do that and also seeing my father's reaction. So the Shabbat is not just about ceasing from work. It's about creating a holy experience for ourselves, similar to these gentlemen. And there are many ways which we can do this. We ourselves can dedicate time to learn Torah on Shabbos. With our family, we can be careful to sing the Zemirot together, the songs. Many people sometimes forget to invest energy in that. It can be very valuable. While we're doing all the laws, we can remember also to download Divrei Torah and share them at our Shabbos table. We can go for walks and reflect on what's important for us. We can meditate and think about Hashem. There are many ways which we can make our Shabbat holy. We must remember that Shabbat is not only about being a Shabbat Shabbaton. It's about making it holy. Uvayom HaShvi'i Yelachem Kodesh. It should be a day of holiness. With this, we'll be able to imbue the rest of our week with energy, bring a lot of blessing and holiness to our home. Shabbat Shalom.